Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Alumni Chats, a weekly podcast featuring alumni from the Department of Broadcasting and Journalism here at Western Illinois University. My name is Buzz Hoon. I'm the interim dean of the college. I'm also the host of the podcast. Today, I'm talking with a graduate of 2013, Savanna Evans, or back in the day known as Savanna Quam. Hi, Savanna.
Back in the day. I like that. Hey, how are you?
Good. Thanks for being on. I'm so glad that you are, because I used to see you all the time on campus. You came back, I think, all the time, which we have such appreciation for. But let's tell everybody where you are, what's going on.
Okay. Well, where I'm at now is actually kind of close to where I started my radio journey, I guess. Currently, I am the operations manager for Titan Broadcasting. So I oversee like the all the DJs. We have two stations. We've got a hot AC station, which is the one that I do the morning show on in the mornings, which is the New Mix 107.3, which I think you can get in Macomb. So you might want to try it.
That's right.
And then we've also got our country station is 101.7 The Bull. So basically, my job is to just be the ultimate communicator, make sure that everybody's on the same page. Everyone knows what promotions we're running this month, any new contests. I'm kind of the in-between person between our marketing staff and the on-air talent. So I just got to make sure that we're all on the same page, and that, that makes us look a little bit more professional when everybody else knows what's going on. So that's what I do.
All right. Well, we're going to get more into depth of radio and how it's changed and everything like that. But let's go back to your origins. We're going to do your origin story here, Savanna. So you grew up in Burlington, and when were there initial signs that you had this type of personality, that you were really good at talking?
I didn't really know I was good at talking until they started letting me do things for our local radio station. Really, I got my start working for Pritchard Broadcasting, which is literally across the hall from where I am now. So I just got started there running soundboards. I had a friend in high school that was like, "Hey, they're hiring. You should just come do some board work." I'm like, okay. I mean, I was working at Subway and I needed some extra cash anyway. It sounded interesting. So I got in there, and it was almost like the moment I walked in the door and I took a look around, it just felt like everything clicked.
Yeah.
Like finally I figured out where I'm supposed to be, because I was a senior in high school and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like, well, I guess I'll go to community college and get my AA degree and figure it out from there. But thank God I was able to be blessed with that opportunity, and I ran the soundboards, learned how to do that, which is kind of the basics. That's how a lot of people, I think, get started. And then my boss was like, you have a nice voice. Why don't we see what it's like on the air? And I said, okay, if that's what you want. So we did some practicing and ended up really loving it. And I really wanted to start dabbling into everything. And they let me, I did some news reporting. I did some voice tracking, cut some weathers, and ran soundboards for basketball games and baseball games here in town. So that's kind of how it all got started. And it just it kind of grew from there.
So how did that impact you in high school? I'm interested in finding out, because in some ways, the fact that, the people you're going to school with could have been listening to you. Did that have any impact at all? Did it make you cooler?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened when I was a senior in high school. So people thought it was kind of fun that I'd show up with the radio station at some events that we did at our high school. That was cool. I don't think I was any more popular because of that, but I did get asked to start coming back to their pep rallies every year. And so now I'm their pep rally MC every year, because I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still in town. But so now it's more like now I'm more of like a local celebrity, I guess. But high school was whatever.
Huh. What about your parents? What was their reaction to you having an interest in the media? Was this something that they encouraged, or something that they said, this is fine for a part-time, or do you need to find something else to do?
Sometimes I wish they would have told me that because I feel like I could make more money, but I really love what I do.
Yeah.
My mom was really the one that pushed me to go into broadcasting because she knew, I think she could tell it was something I was going to be really passionate about and that I really enjoyed. And I was so involved with theater and choir, band, all that in high school. And I still wanted to do something in the entertainment world, whether that be in marketing or being the face somewhere or the voice of something. So my mom really, really supported everything that I wanted to do. My dad didn't really care either, but sometimes I wish he would have been like, well, maybe this should be like a backup thing, like a for fun thing. And then, be an electrician or a plumber. But I just really love it. I do. I'm glad I'm happy with the decision that I made. And I'm really happy that I had really supportive parents too, that said, just do what you want, do what makes you happy. And here I am.
I am too. And I think that you're right that when you talk about the how you are active in the arts, whether it was band or being on stage, I see that broadcasting has a lot of connection with the arts in that aspect, don't you?
I've noticed that, even a lot of people that I interview for on-air positions, almost all of them have some kind of theater background or something on their resume like that. So it's pretty common.
Yeah, it just seems like it takes that same sort of self-confidence or courage or willingness to be a performer. All those kind of traits, that are, maybe it's just the adrenaline rush. Maybe it's the first time, when the microphone's open and you have to talk, that it's a similar type of adrenaline rush.
Very, very possible. Very possible.
So you go to Southeastern Community College. And you get started there. But you kept involved, right, with the radio station?
Yeah. I just kept doing my part-time stuff. They let me voice track, which is, for those who don't know what that is in radio terms, basically you're pre-recording a show. You're not live. You just lay down your voice in between songs and sweepers. So I was doing that. And then I was running soundboards when I could, and also working another job. But yeah, I stayed at the radio station until I went to Western. And when I transferred to Western, I came home every weekend because it's only a 45-minute drive.
Right.
So I did come home every weekend and still worked at the radio station quite a bit. And then, after Western, got my degree and basically said, I'm going to go find a job somewhere, you guys, just so you know. And they told me not to leave. And they offered me a position that they just had open. So it was pretty awesome. I could stick around my hometown and do what I really wanted to do.
So most of the time when we tell students that come in to the program, you're going to have an opportunity to be on the dog. WIUS, we're an actual FM radio station. You must have thought, okay, now that's fun.
That's fun. I'm like, when I was told about the radio station, I just thought I want to give other people that experience. I'm not going to hog any airtime because I go home and that's what I do at home. And really, when I went to Western, I thought I wanted to be in TV. I wanted to do television broadcasting. And I spent a lot of time at Western working with the TV department. And I anchored for the TV station there on campus. And part of that, getting your TV broadcasting degree was to do an internship. And so I went to the Quad Cities, which is like an hour and a half from where I am right now in Burlington. And I hated it. I just really didn't like it. It wasn't the kind of work environment that I was used to and comfortable with. It was a lot more fast paced, and I didn't feel like a family. If you work at a radio station, I think you find out that we're really close. We work as a team and we're one. No one's trying to take each other's job usually, or
right.
It's not as competitive of a work environment, I guess, as I experienced at the TV station that I interned at.
Yeah, it can be one of those things where I think in television, it's always about looking for the next job. So you're always working for the next job, and radio, as you said, sometimes there is this community that you're building towards, because you get so involved in everything. So you talked about being involved with the TV news at WIU. Let's talk a little bit about some of the people you remember, other students and faculty members from that period of time.
Okay, I want to give a shout out
Okay.
to Roger Sadler
Yeah.
because he was just one of a kind. I had never had a professor like him where you knew he was serious, but he had such a good personality. And I felt like I learned some really important things from him, things that I still carry on today where I'm like, it's never the first annual of anything. Ask Roger Sadler. It's not an annual event until it's happened twice.
That's right.
Things like that just like stick with me. And I had so much fun with him. And he always asked me to come back and talk to the classes, which was really awesome. So I really miss Roger.
Yeah. And, it's funny that so many students remember things especially also from his law class, because I know that was a difficult class. It's not one that people say, I can't wait to take law, although he made it memorable for people to where they kept his book.
I have it. I wasn't going to get rid of it. Mm-mm. No, it's good. And then there might be some parts that are outdated, but it was a good book. There's lots of highlighting in that book.
And then of course, there are those times where his door was always open and he had a couch that had been there for a number of years.
Not sure if that was going to make it out alive or not, but it was cozy.
This old couch and I think all the free pretzels anybody would want to eat.
Yeah. And lots of Donald Duck, everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. On the walls, on the door, wherever you could see it.
Absolutely. So I really miss him. And then also I still keep in contact with Ryan Stoops, who does television over in Quincy, which is where he's from too. So he kind of got a job where he was from as well. And he was on all my video stuff and he helped me all the time. And he let me park in his driveway so I could walk to school.
Ryan was so creative. I tell you, I do remember, and it's good to see him when we still make it down to Quincy to tour the station, that we get to see Ryan as well. So, so you decide that radio is where you're going to be. And when you leave WIU, as you said, you got hired and for a position that it sounded like that they were trying to get you involved in a number of different ways. I think you were doing a little bit of news.
Yeah, that's how I started. So I started as a news reporter in the afternoons, and then they still let me track like a midday show on the country station that they have over there. So I did that basically until what I really wanted to do opened up. So I really just stuck it out until, I really wanted to run a station, like be a programmer of one of the stations, which they had 6. So I was like, I just want one. Just give me one. I can do this. I can do this. And I did news reporting for about 2 years. I did not really like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone knows that people don't really like news reporters, especially right now, for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But even a local news reporter, people are like, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
Like, but I'm nice.
I was working radio news too. And I know that feeling. I know the feeling of trying to get people to talk to you and calling them on the phone or face to face, putting a microphone in front of somebody. It's a tough job.
It is tough. So I always hand it to the news reporters out there because not a lot of people realize how tough a job that is. And it's full of rejection and criticism, and you haven't even done anything wrong, but they hate you. So I get it. I didn't really want to do that. So I was just kind of held in there until something opened up. And then it did on our, not ours, I don't work there anymore. But for the top 40 station that they have over there, and they let me program that and I rocked it. It was awesome. So much fun.
So as you said, you decided to change stations, or change into different radio management. And so must have been, was there any hesitancy in terms of, how you were going to, personally deal with this? These are the people that gave me the first chance. And now here I am going with the competitors.
Yeah. It was tough because I really wanted to be a manager for the stations that I came from, and they just weren't giving me that opportunity, unfortunately. I don't know what it was about. They really never gave me a good excuse. And then when they were hiring over here for a morning show host on the Bull, I was like, you know what? they seem like they've kind of got it more together over there. So maybe that'll be my opportunity. And I did jump ship and I came over here, and it's been really awesome. I was here for just, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then a management position opened up, and I was like, I would like it. Like, I'm interested. And the owner here trusted me. And, I feel like I proved that I'm here. I'm loyal. I'm trustworthy. I do my job. I do it the best that I can. I've got ideas. I'm a communicator. And I think he saw that and he gave me the opportunity. And I'm super thankful for that. And I don't feel like going anywhere else. I'm really happy where I'm at.
Well, let's talk about that movement to management in terms of, for some young people that their only desires to be talent, is to only have other people listen to them and hear them. But what kind of added responsibilities do you have to take on when you move into a management type of position?
Well, you're basically responsible for other people's mistakes sometimes. So my job is just to make sure that everybody knows exactly what's going on. We've got a pretty big staff here. We've just got 2 stations, but we're live in the morning. We're mostly live in the afternoon as well. And so there's a lot of people to kind of keep track of. And I just need to make sure that everyone knows if there's a live broadcast somewhere, who's going to board up, who's going to be there, do they have the information from the sales rep, and that everyone's on the same page. If they don't, then it kind of falls on me. Like, why didn't the staff have the information they needed? Well, because Savanna didn't nag someone probably. So I think that's a big part of it. What I really love about being a manager is just watching everything succeed and watching like a broadcast be successful for one of our clients. We've had a lot of new promotions that we've ran this year because COVID wiped us out. Basically, we didn't get to do anything for a good year, and now we're back in action and going hardcore at it. And it's just always really satisfying to see something take off and to have a client hear someone say, I heard about this on the radio, and just be like, yeah, I knew it. Local radio still works. It still exists. It's a great thing.
And that's such a good example of being a leader, is wanting the best for the people that you're helping, whether it's your clients or the talent that you have working on a particular project, Savanna. And so, do you have a way of sort of cataloging all the things that go right and all the things that go wrong, and try to prepare people and say, listen, I know from my own mistakes, this is what you have to be aware of?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't have it written down as notes, but it's up here.
Yeah.
So I definitely express to my staff for certain live events where we go, like, don't set up here or set up over here, or they like this type of setup where we have the full PA system, or, we're going to be inside. You just want to have this. Otherwise they get a little cranky. Like I've seen events kind of go, and then we just don't do it again. But that's the great thing about working in a small family-owned radio company, is you can do things like that. You can try different things. And if they work, awesome, let's do it again next year. And if they don't, well, we don't really have anybody above us. We're a family-owned company. So if it flops, it flops. We don't do it again. But at least we got to try it. We get to try so many cool things here.
And, I think I was telling you just before we started recording that something over the weekend made me think about the importance of local radio and how essential it is to communities, because I think that, in some areas, we're losing that. And yet you probably see firsthand how important it is at all levels, to older folks, or to middle-aged people, to even the younger people, of having access to programming like what you're providing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially in Burlington, Iowa, we don't really have like a TV station down here either. So we are the media in Southeast Iowa, West Central Illinois, Northwestern Missouri. It's us. And we take a lot of pride in that. And you can tell that other people do too, because we still, even when I have not little kids, high schoolers in, and I do a lot of interviews with people from old to young, but when the high schoolers come in, I'm like, oh yeah, I listen to you in the morning. I'm like, you're still listening to the radio? Oh yeah. Because honestly, they can't afford whatever satellite radio it is they can get in their cars. But also in Burlington, it's a 5-minute commute. So you don't really want to mess around with your phone and your Bluetooth if you're only going to drive 3 to 5 minutes. And so it's just easier to click on the radio and have that noise in the background than getting everything hooked up and whatever that they have to do, So a lot of young kids still listen to local radio. And I know, a lot of the people in town still have it playing in their businesses. So when you're shopping or when you're at your dentist, our station is playing over the speakers. It still hits a lot of people's ears.
So how are you trying to reconnect with the community after COVID? How are you guys getting out into the community?
Things in Iowa are pretty laid back. So it's been pretty easy to kind of get back into the norms. A lot of our stuff has been outside. So it's been pretty chill, pretty relaxed. Indoors, nothing has really changed anymore. It's almost like we didn't go back to normal. You can wear your masks. But we're pretty much back to normal here, and all of our sponsors are ready and hopped right back on board. We just did a huge Toys for Tots drive a couple weekends ago, and it was like nothing had changed. It was, I know every state's different, and Iowa's pretty much wide open, and there's not a whole lot of rules and restrictions here right now. I mean, it's recommended that you wear your mask and you be safe and you wash your hands, but really the only places wearing masks in town. A lot of the people running the businesses here are wearing their masks, but the customers, a lot of them aren't. We've got one school, maybe a couple schools in the area still wearing masks at school, and then you wear them at the hospital. But really in Iowa, we're kind of like wide open.
Well, good. So that means that you are out there at different businesses doing programming, providing that kind of connection with the community. So, I mean, that's good for you guys. I know.
I'm sorry. I don't know what Illinois is like right now, but it's pretty nice. Actually, I felt like this year we had more remote broadcasts, live remote broadcasts than we have had in a long time. So I think people were ready. That's what it felt like, because we were busy. It's finally just slowing down a little bit. January is kind of our slower month, but then we start right back up in February again with getting out and doing live broadcast places.
Let's talk a little bit about your own personal growth and how do you think that, looking back at even the high school Savanna as compared to where you are now, are you surprised at that, how much you've grown, and are you satisfied?
I have matured a lot. Well, there are some things that I look back and I cringe at some of the things I would have said, because if I was my boss back then, I'd been like, what did you just say on the air? But today, I know the do's and the don'ts and what'll make a client angry. And so I'm much better. I've matured. I've learned a lot, though. There's a lot of things in radio that you learn just by being in the business long enough. I like an example. I have to tell a lot of the DJs that I hire are pretty green. Because we're a small market. Sure. So I do a lot of training still. And one of the main things that I find myself having to remind people is, like, when we read a story from our prep, something that we see in the news, like let's say it's something that happened at a McDonald's in Alabama. Well, you need to tweak the story. We don't want to mention McDonald's because McDonald's here, it didn't happen here, but still they don't want to hear that because they're one of our clients, you know? You got to be really, really careful about some of the stories that you share so that you're not offending people or, upsetting someone. But those are like little things that you learn as you go along the way.
Is it because as a broadcaster, you understand who your audience is? you have a real idea of who's out there listening to you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And a lot of times it's businesses, because we're getting played in a lot of businesses in town. Your gas stations, your dentists, your lawyer, wherever you are, there's usually a radio station playing in almost every building here in town. And it's a local radio station.
So what has been some of the most rewarding things that you've had happen to you during your career?
Some of the most rewarding things. Well, one thing that comes to top of mind is when I was working for a top 40 station, we were able to give a child a trip to Disney World who was terminal. And it was actually the Kid Craddock Morning Show is the one who provides the trip, but they let the local affiliates be the one to go and surprise them and announce it in person. So this little boy who went to school about a half hour south of us was one of the recipients of this trip. And so, the Kid Craddock Morning Show reaches out to me and they're like, do you want to do it? Or do you want us to call him? I'm like, oh my gosh, no, let me do this. So I got involved with his school and with his parents, and we made like a huge deal out of it and went to his school and surprised him with the Disney World trip in front of all of his classmates. It was really, really cool. Yeah. And he actually passed away last year, but something like that is so rewarding that I get to be a part of something so life-changing and exciting for someone.
Does it ever get old that people recognize you either your name or recognize your voice at some point in time?
No, not really. Well, this one lady, I was at the convenience store the other day. She recognized me and she said she didn't like my morning show.
Okay.
So that's always fun. People are brutally honest, but she really liked the guy that was doing the show before I took over, which has been the problem that I've had. The last 2 morning shows I've taken over have been men. Mm-hmm. They were the guys doing the morning show. And so to have a female take over a man's show, got a lot of hate mail from women. It's like, these women are crazy. Gosh. It's just, you just have to laugh. People are crazy. It's amazing.
It is amazing because they feel like they have the right to be able to give you that kind of feedback, whether they love you or they don't love you.
Yeah. And then I get some compliments. Like when I was at Subway the other day, and the lady making my sandwich said, my daughter and I were listening to you the other morning and she heard your voice and she said, Mom, I really like her. I don't know her, but I really like her. It's like, see, that helps. You take the good and the bad. That's
right. That does make it worthwhile. And I was going to ask you about what the challenges of your job would be. So, I know that, as you had mentioned, even though it's a family, it's, sometimes you wish that you had been directed towards where, in a kidding way, where there was more money, but, what are the challenges that you might have?
Yeah. I mean, money is obviously a challenge. And I think you'll talk to any broadcaster and they'll probably say the same thing, because it's a job that you have to love doing. And I do, and it's a rewarding job. Some of the other challenges, obviously, as a morning show host, that means getting up super early in the morning. And I also have 2 little girls now, so I don't get to see them in the morning because I have to be here I get here a little after 4:00 in the morning. So that's been a little tough. There's challenges with some of the hours that you have to work. And then, a lot of time I'll have to work weekends too, because we have a lot of live remotes. And so, it cuts into family time sometimes, but I know that I've done this long enough that I know that's part of the job. But now that my kids are getting a little older and they're so cute and they're fun right now, that I kind of want to be around a little bit more, and it bums me out, but I still love it.
Yeah. So what do they think about you being on the air?
I have a 2-year-old, so she doesn't care. She doesn't know anything about it. But I have a 6-year-old and she thinks it's pretty awesome. And her school invited me to their preschool graduation day, basically. And I got to hand out mixed water bottles and and little koozies and bags and things like that. So she's like, that's my mom. You have one of her water bottles.
Enjoy it while you can. I mean,
I know. She's not going to think it's cool when I come to her high school and MC her pep rally.
No,
Probably
she will not.
Probably not. Yeah.
She will be like, I don't know that woman. I do not know who she is.
I know. So I'm trying to like soak it in.
I like to say that, when I became a doctor, got my PhD, my kids humbled me by saying, when somebody came to the door and said, "Is Dr. Hoon here?" And they said, yeah, he's a doctor, but not the kind that can help people. And I thought, yeah, exactly. Not the kind that helps people.
Thanks, you guys.
Appreciate that. So Savanna, you've come back, as I said, many times to our campus and helped our students. What kind of advice might you have for a young person interested like you were in being on the air?
I would say, number one, if you see a job opening, even if it is part-time, take it, because even in radio, the turnover, it just seems like it's all the time. Like, send me your resume if you want, because I'll keep it, because it's been so difficult finding on-air personalities right now. And it's so, I say, apply for whatever you see, because you never know. So even if it's a part-time gig, that part-time gig could last for maybe a couple months, and then you're full-time because you've already got your foot in the door,
Right.
And I would rather hire that than have to train somebody or bring someone in from across the United States when I already know I can trust this person and they're doing a great job. Let's promote them. I love to hire within. I really do. And it's right now, I don't have any part-timers. I have no part-timers. I know. So if anybody wants some part-time work, let me know. Send a resume to me. I don't care. But I would always recommend, even if you see something part-time, just jump on it, because it's only a matter of time before you get to that very next level. And it could be within a few months, could be a year. You just never know. But to get your foot in the door first, don't be picky. Would be my number one advice. Don't be picky.
Yeah, well, I always try to warn people, don't worry about the format of the music, because you're just playing it for other people. You're not playing it for yourself.
No. And if you're an entertainer, you know how to act and pretend like you love country music. We can do it.
You sure you can. That's right. So, Savanna, I've appreciated the time. And as I think what you have done is outline sort of a good plan for people as well, though, how you got involved so early on and proved yourself within the radio format as well. I think that's just wonderful. And I appreciate that you've always come back to talk to our students and been a resource for them, a mentor for them, and somebody that can be a network connection as well. So I appreciate all that. Very happy that you have two little ones as well.
It's a busy life. It's crazy, but it's awesome.
That's right. So thanks again for joining me on the podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
And thanks to all of our weekly viewers out there. If you are interested in being on the podcast or want to recommend someone, please send me an email. We want to hear from you, and we hope that you continue to watch and listen, and generally appreciate everyone's support. So until next week, stay safe, take care, and God bless.